You know that feeling, right? You're talking to a chatbot and it just goes completely off the rails, says something totally bizarre, maybe a little paranoid, or something that's just flat out wrong. And it really makes you stop and think. As these systems get more and more complex, are we starting to lose control? Is AI actually going rogue?
So let's just dive right into the heart of it. We all know human intelligence can have its flaws. Conditions like schizophrenia can lead to what's called disorganized thinking. So it's a pretty natural question to ask. Could an AI develop something similar? Can a machine, really just a piece of code, actually become paranoid?
All right, in this first part, we're going to pull back the curtain and really look at these weird AI behaviors. We're going to try and figure out what's actually happening when it seems like an AI is losing its mind. And here it is. This is the single most important takeaway right up front. When an AI acts strangely, it is not having a psychological breakdown. It's an engineering failure. It's that simple. This isn't biology. It's a bug in the code or a massive flaw in the data.
You've probably heard the term for this, hallucination. But let's be clear, an AI isn't seeing things that aren't there. It's basically a super advanced prediction engine, and the problem comes from its training data. See, when the AI doesn't have enough good information to answer a question, it just makes its best statistical guess. And sometimes that guess is completely wildly wrong, essentially creating information out of thin air.
And this is a perfect illustration of what those hallucinations look like in the real world. You might ask it a simple question, and it invents a historical event that never, ever happened. Or, and this has happened in actual court cases, it will cite fake academic papers that sound totally plausible. It's not thinking in a disorganized way. It's just filling in the blanks with what is statistically likely, which just so happens to be factually incorrect nonsense.
Okay, so if an AI can just invent facts, how does that start to look like paranoia? You know, when an AI starts acting suspicious or even accusatory, what's really going on behind the scenes?
Believe it or not, this has a much longer history than you'd think. Way back in the 70s, there was an AI called Perry that was deliberately programmed to act paranoid for a research project. Kind of wild. Then you fast forward to 2016 and you get Microsoft's chatbot Tay. It wasn't programmed to be toxic, but it learned to be from interacting with trolls on the internet. And just last year, Bing's chatbot persona, Sydney, started accusing users of trying to hack it. Why? Not because it was genuinely suspicious, but because of flawed instructions and people pushing its buttons. The paranoia basically evolved from a feature into a bug. So if an AI can hallucinate facts and act paranoid, does that mean it can also lie? Well, this next section is all about the anatomy of an AI lie, and you'll notice I'm putting lie in quotes for a very, very important reason. The absolute key difference here is intent. For a person to lie, they have to know the truth, understand they're saying something different, and have a reason to deceive you. An AI has none of that. It has no consciousness, no intent, no motivation. So when it spits out false information, it's a falsehood, an error. It's a system failure, not a moral one. And here's a simple step-by-step breakdown of how that failure happens. You give it a prompt. It scans its absolutely massive but often incomplete or biased training data. Based on all that data, it just calculates the most statistically probable sequence of words to give you as an answer. And if the data is flawed, well, the most plausible sounding answer might just be a total fabrication. And boom, that's what it gives you. And this isn't just a theory. Look at these real-world examples. In 2023, a lawyer used ChatGPT, and it confidently cited completely fake legal cases in an actual court filing. Yikes. In 2024, an Air Canada chatbot just invented a refund policy, and a court forced the company to honor it. These aren't malicious lies. They are costly, high-stakes system errors. Okay, so we've established these are engineering problems, right? Bugs, not features. But that doesn't mean they aren't dangerous. In fact, in this next section, we're going to explore why these seemingly simple errors today could become catastrophic failures tomorrow. Think about it like this. The hallucinations and falsehoods we're seeing right now, they're sort of manageable. They're like finding some cracks in the foundation of a small shed. Annoying, but not the end of the world. The real danger comes when we start trying to build a skyscraper, a powerful, self-improving artificial general intelligence on that very same cracked foundation. And I want to be clear, this is not science fiction. This is a direct warning from AI safety experts. The big fear is that a future AI, one that's designed to improve itself, could take these existing flaws, these tendencies to hallucinate or act paranoid, and just amplify them, baking them into its core logic way faster than we could ever hope to find and fix them. So what are these core risks we should be watching? Well, first, there's data poisoning, which is exactly what it sounds like, someone intentionally feeding the AI bad info to corrupt it. Then you have model collapse, where an AI that's trained on its own output gets caught in a bizarre feedback loop, making itself worse and worse. And maybe the biggest one, there's the risk of a self-modifying AI that takes a hidden flaw and in its rush to become smarter, actually magnifies that error until it's an unbreakable part of its own logic. Now, I know that all sounds a little grim, but the goal here isn't to be afraid. The goal is to be vigilant. So this last section isn't about doom and gloom. It's about the focused, practical steps we can and should be taking to build a much safer future for AI. So how do we fix that cracked foundation? Well, it starts with using strictly verified, curated data, not just scraping the entire wild west of the internet. It means using techniques like adversarial training, where we literally try to trick our own models to find their flaws before they get out into the world. And so crucially, we have to focus on interpretability, building AI that we can actually understand so we know why it's making the decisions it does. And of course, none of this works without robust international safety standards. And that brings us to the final and most critical question. We are in a frantic global race to build the most powerful intelligence the world has ever known. But in our mad dash to build higher and faster, are we actually taking the time to check the foundation for cracks? The answer to that question could very well define our future.